What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Now it's almost time for the 2020 Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, so let's see what everyone is talking about. Join us now as we present you the wildest news and rumors you need to know regarding the 2020 Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now unfortunately, there's not much news going on regarding this year's Hell in a Cell, but you can be sure Wrestlelamia will dig up whatever there is as the week develops. The reason, although speculative, is that the WWE is booking so much of Hell in a Cell as it goes, and the promotion has little idea what's going to happen with the announced matches, let alone the rest of the card. Now, as we mentioned before, we won't be seeing The Undertaker at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, but it is rumoured that he will be returning at the Survivor Series pay-per-view. But what rumours have been reported for the show? As number one, it's another show being booked on the fly. The WWE is upping the ante at this year's show by featuring 3 matches in the Cell, including 3 World Championship matches. It's clear the WWE isn't concerned with promoting the rest of the show, and it's likely they're figuring out how to fill out the rest of the show besides the Jeff Hardy vs Elias bout. Now, although the 2020 draft has created a number of new potential matchups, they don't seem to be focusing on any new programs. But let's look at the possible matches to look out for, as in addition to the 4 scheduled matches, fans can expect to see some more. Now, while some members of the WWE Universe want to see more time given to the 3 Hell in a Cell matches, fans should expect a 2.5 to 3 hour show, which means they are likely to keep up with the new schedule of 6 or 7 matches. Here are some likely encounters. The first being a United States Championship bout between Bobby Lashley and Ricochet. Now, don't worry about Ricochet regaining the US Championship. This match will be a way to set up the rumored Retribution vs Hurt Business match for the Survivor Series. Look for Retribution to attack Lashley during or after the match. Next up, we could see a SmackDown tag team match between the Street Profits and Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Now, while it's clear the WWE wants to get some mileage out of the ZIGGLER team, it's just not clear how much. ZIGGLER have held the belts before, and the Street Profits chasing them for the belts could make for an interesting program going into December. Don't be surprised if Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro are added, making this a triple threat match. As for the Raw Women's Championship match, look for ASUKA vs LANA. If the Empress of Tomorrow can give Zelina Vega a rematch after defeating her, why not give one to Lana, who deserves one just for the number of tables she's gone through over the last several weeks. This match could be a means to set up Asuka's next opponent, who we'll talk about shortly, and if nothing else, to kill some time. Let's also not forget the IC Championship match, as we could see a match between Sami Zayn vs Daniel Bryan. Now, this is the type of match that needs no build-up, and while both performers could turn this into a long-term feud, this match is likely to be a setup to a program between Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan. They've already dropped hints that Rollins and Bryan are going to lock horns sometime soon, and this match should keep the work rate fans happy while putting Zayn over as a cocky heel with the uncanny ability to pull wins out of a certain defeat. Next up, Keith Lee vs Braun Strowman. As the WWE set things up for a rematch between Lee and Strowman, and knowing the way they book things, expect to see the promotion run this feud into the ground, with both men battling regularly on TV and pay-per-view. The WWE is going to burn out fans with Lee vs Strowman, a program that could be a very good battle of the big men if it wasn't booked on autopilot. And we could also see Aleister Black vs Kevin Owens. The WWE didn't move both men over to SmackDown without planning or resuming the feud they started on Raw. Look for these two to battle again. While the time is right for a stipulation match like No Holds Barred, they're probably going to wait since they don't want to overshadow the 3 Hell in a Cell matches. Now, there are a number of meaningless matches the WWE could put on, whether it's Lars Sullivan's squash of some talent, another match between Seth Rollins and the Mysterio family, or even Tucker and Otis battling The Miz and Morrison. As noted earlier, the WWE seems to feel they've done everything they need to do with this show and will likely book the last few matches over the weekend. Number 2, a build-up for Survivor Series. And one of the bigger questions is whether the WWE will use Hell in a Cell to set up any major matches for the Survivor Series. As fans know, recent Survivor Series matches have been inter-brand rivalries, with SmackDown champions battling Raw champions in non-title bouts, as well as a band of blue brand brawlers battling red brand bruisers. Last year, they took things to the next level when they brought in the stars of NXT, creating some engaging triple threat matches that introduced many fans to the black and gold brand's performers. However, there's been no talk of this, so barring a complete reversal, look for a more traditional show featuring Raw vs SmackDown. If they do go with inter-brand matches, don't expect much build-up for feuds, as they will keep things quiet until after Hell in a Cell. However, if they abandon this tradition, fans could see a number of new feuds develop at Hell in a Cell and on the Raw and SmackDown afterwards. The problem is that Vince McMahon is more narrow-minded than ever and seems focused on 3 programs: The Rock vs Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 37, Ronda Rousey vs Becky Lynch at the same, and continuing the Sasha Banks vs Bayley program. Number 3. Some rumored returns. Now, it's important to differentiate between rumored returns and mere speculation. Let's start by looking at some of the bigger names that are out there who could conceivably return at Hell in a Cell: Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, Bill Goldberg, and Charlotte Flair. Now, Rousey, Goldberg, and Charlotte Flair are all under contract, which means they could pop up at any time. So let's look at the chances of these returns happening. The first being Brock Lesnar. As reported in an earlier news video, Brock Lesnar seems content working on his farm and raising his children. The WWE also seems content not paying him a small fortune to perform in empty arenas. Now, there will be a time when the Beast Incarnate returns to the WWE, but it's likely not going to be until at least the Royal Rumble, and only if the WWE is able to run the show with paying fans. Unless the fans return, expect Brock to ride his tractor and enjoy a vacation from his previously grueling WWE schedule, that of about 3 matches per year. Ronda Rousey. While there have been a variety of stories and rumors regarding Rowdy Ronda's return to the WWE, the current narrative is that she will be returning for WrestleMania 37, and the goal is for her to face Becky Lynch. Rousey could conceivably return at any time, as she's still under WWE contract, but like the case of Brock Lesnar, it's unlikely the WWE wants to use her until they can maximize their profits. Bill Goldberg. Fans just saw Dollar Bill amongst the virtual fans at SmackDown's season premiere, leading to speculation that Goldberg may be coming back for a match. Not too long ago, we mentioned how Goldberg has fulfilled his contractual obligations as far as matches go for 2020, but he might be talked into a return should they run a show in Saudi Arabia. Now, the pandemic has likely put a stop to any more shows there this year, but we've heard murmurings that the WWE wants Goldberg back for a match against Roman Reigns. As you'll likely recall, Goldberg was supposed to put Reigns over at WrestleMania 36, but dropped the Universal Championship to Braun Strowman instead due to Reigns pulling out. Now, while the thought of a Reigns vs Goldberg match may seem like fantasy, keep in mind that both men have dropped hints on social media about meeting down the road, and what better way to help build a Rock vs Roman Reigns by having Reigns get a win over Goldberg, still considered by many fans to be one of the biggest performers ever. A Goldberg match would be a good way to forward Roman Reigns' build-up as the tribal chief without putting him into a meaningless match against someone on SmackDown. And lastly, what about Charlotte Flair? Another name to watch out for, as she hasn't been in the WWE since Nia Jax sidelined her with a kayfabe injury, giving time for Flair to get surgery to repair a damaged implant. Flair has been training for a return to the squared circle, and although her proud papa Ric Flair claims she's going to need time off to recover, Slick Rick's comments, like any wrestlers, should be treated with skepticism. This means a return at Hell in a Cell shouldn't be ruled out, especially since Asuka has been defending the Raw Women's Championship against some less than stellar competitors such as Zelina Vega and Lana. But there you have it, guys, the wildest wrestling news and rumors you need to know surrounding the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Who would you like to see return? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.